welcome to a game of Force of Virtue. We're at Sigginstown Castle with our publisher Jay Maxwell, and we're going to play a game for you that shows off a little bit what we can do with the scenario deck and some of the fun you can have with it. If you look at our board right now, in Force of Virtue, when you set up a scenario, what you do is one player sets up the board, and then the other player gets to decide whether they're playing attacker or defender. You have a few different types you can play and a few different kinds of deployments. Right now, what I've set up is a little bit of a brigand hideout with a cave system. They've ambushed a Couracho and killed the garrison or the defenders of the convoy, and some Swiss mercenaries led by a banker have been sent to go in and try and find the promissory note that was hidden in this area, specifically on this body here in the center. So, now that I've set up and I've chosen the scenario, it's Jay's turn to decide whether he's going to be attacker or defender. The defender will deploy within 4 inches of the objective here, and the attacker will get to deploy for 3 inches away from any board edge.
Well, I think I'm going to be the attacker. The Duchess has also heard about this promissory note and is fully intent on gaining it for herself, using some papal forces in order to achieve this.
So here we have the banker's Swiss mercenaries, who are some lightly armed Swiss mercenaries, 3 pikemen and 3 halberdiers, and the banner from Uri, who are Swiss attending, are quite sure are untrustworthy because they're from Uri. Now, that means he is attacking, so I will start by deploying my forces within 3 inches. So the banker has managed to get to the brigand's hideout and make a deal with them, and he's here trying to defend the body and the promissory note from the Duchess's forces. So one thing to remember about Force of Virtue is that everything is based around your capos, your commanders, like your bannermen, and your troops, unless they are veteran, which my troops, I have made my Swiss veterans, meaning that they can give themselves orders using their own virtues, which you will see played during the game.
The Duchess's troops aren't actually her troops. What we have here are highly experienced, heavily armed militia, which the Duchess is now going to try and convince to join her cause, using whatever deception comes to mind. Well, Force of Virtue is not just about playing your models on the board, it's about subterfuge, and the Duchess has actually set up for this, and has poisoned your capo.
Oh dear. So, a note on these crossbowmen and the militia. These are from our scenario deck. So your scenario deck is all your forces in Force of Virtue come from decks. You have a Swiss deck, you have a Spanish deck, etc., and then you have flavor decks. And then the last deck that every player has access to is called the scenario deck, which is in common to every player and has special characters and NPCs, including neutral city militia, which can also be convinced by NPCs like the Duchess. In a novel and brilliant move, Jay has decided to forego taking any forces of his own and take only the Duchess as a troop controlled by him and do everything else as an NPC. So this will be an interesting mission to see. I'm sure he's going to try and go up and use the Duchess's powers of convincing to convince these militia to fall under her control. In the meantime, they will have a fun time shooting away at my lightly armed Swiss infantry.
Well, they're out here looking for brigands. And oh look, what did we find? Dead bodies, troops.
I'm sure it'll look very well in the report then. Okay, so the attacker always gets to move first in Force of Virtue. Since they have the disadvantage of trying to achieve the objective, I have to only prevent him from achieving the objective. So it is Jay's first move.
And we've agreed that the militia's NPCs will always go last. So the Duchess sets up 6 inches from the edge of the deck.
3 inches.
3 inches. And I'm going to be using Celerity, which is one of the 4 cardinal virtues. And I'm using 4 Celerity tokens, which I'm dedicating to an attempt to increase the pace of the Duchess as she hikes off her skirts and sprints through the mud. Crit.
So due to a celerity speed or celerity crit success, in the cards we say speed, but in the original Latin it's celerity, she could move up to 9, which I'm sure she will happily do.
Bringing me right up amongst the troops. There we go.
Breathlessly, she arrives with the crossbowmen, and I'm sure next action she will have a tale of woe and horror to tell them about these unlawful Swiss mercenaries. Now it is my action. I do believe my banker also has convince. So we are equally skilled in convincing each other, convincing these city militia. However, I think I will use, just in case, run up as many troops as I can to hit them in the face with my halberds very kindly. To do this, I will use Fortitudo, because that is what my banner has. My banner having 6 inches command range can move all of my veterans at once, otherwise they'd have to move in their own groups of 3. So I will try maybe a 2 dice instead of a 3 dice, so that I have 1 faith left over to do a 1 dice action afterwards. Let's see how this goes. And that's a crit, that's excellent. So a Fortitudo crit means that my faith and my virtue that I spent doing this get refunded at the end of the action. So it basically doesn't faze them at all because they're just that tough. So that brings them right up here. And oh dearie. Well, I will also point out that is probably means that it should be counted as difficult terrain, meaning that movement costs double over it. So I will move them 3 inches up to where they should go, and then they will move, he will move basically 6 up to there, and he will move 6 up to there. And the banner will stay slightly behind, because in Force of Virtue, the nearest model is always targeted by the enemy, unless there's a prudence crit success. And the banker will take up a safe point in the rear.
Now, these are not my troops. I can't tell them what to do. But as militia, they will fire on the closest unrecognized armed combatants. They won't fire on people from the scenario deck, such as the Duchess. The only people who are in fact currently not from the scenario deck are the massed troops gathering at the bottom of the hill, charging up towards them. So each of them is now going to be rolling to fire upon the troops at the bottom, which are the closest are the halberdiers.
Now, I am somewhat better off than I might be, because I used 1 card to give my troops light armor, improving their armor save from a 5+ to a 4+. But the heavy crossbows still have -1, have +1 to that armor save, making it again a 5+, cancelling out that card. Let's hope not too many of them die.
Also, because these are highly skilled crossbowmen, normally hitting on a 3+, They're also using heavy crossbows at close range, which means they're hitting on a 2+.
Oh dear.
Let's start with the first group at the back, firing upon the halberdiers.
So each of them is making a 1 dice attack.
And every one has missed.
I'm guessing that they've been drinking.
I'm guessing so. Next unit. Only 2 hits.
Okay.
A stroke of luck.
So, the good news is, even though my troops are lightly armored, I do have a lot of virtue. So unless they end up dying, I should be okay. So, I don't have any defense dice from cover, I don't think. Unless we might say that... Well, we might say the rise. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd allow that.
Yeah, so in Force of Virtue, if you have cover, you get what is called a defense dice. Now, you made one was a crit success and one was a normal success, right?
Okay.
I'm guessing, just based on those dice, right?
No, they were both just hits.
Both just hits. Okay, good. So they're both simple hits. For a defense die, a simple hit, meaning not a crit, will cancel out. Is cancelled out by a simple success by a defense dice. I'm rolling against my cards to hit value, which is a 4+, to try and negate this. Because the to hit is basically their skill. So I need a 4-up or a crit success to cancel out. But both of them fail, so they took it in the face. Now I have to roll my armor save, which is a 5+. 1 succeeds. Oh dear. So now that I failed my armor save, I have to burn 1 virtue, which I will do off those veterans. And I will now have to roll a wound save to see if the model is removed. He manages his wound save, so he is not removed. So that volley has managed to only burn 1 virtue. I still have 1 action left. I can actually, my action was not refunded, but I still have 3 faith. Oh no, my action 2, because that's how that works. So I basically still have 2 actions worth to do, so that is excellent. So I will do another 2 dice movement up the hill. Again.
Refunded again.
Refunded again. But I am still only moving 3 inches up this hill. Shame on you, mountain-dwelling Swiss. You should be better at this. Maybe that's why they're rolling Fortitudo crits. The steep slope makes them feel at home. Okay, we'll just agree he's there, shall we?
Okay.
Okay. Excellent. So, that is my last action. I will now pass. So, in Force of Virtue, the round goes until both players have passed. That means I don't want to do anything more this round. And then the first player who passes has first action again in the new round. At the end of the new round, any virtue that are spent are refunded. Any virtue that are burned stay burnt. Any action, and then all troops are back to full actions and full faith, which we may explain later on.
So, the Duchess is now going to attempt to persuade this militia to join her against the troops that they're already firing upon. To do this, she's rolling 3 additional dice.
So, in Force of Virtue, you have what are called interactions. Interactions can be with NPCs or objectives. You roll 6 dice, and you attempt to get a suit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. Simple objectives are only 3. Complex objectives are 6. All capos roll 6 dice. She rolls 6 plus another 3 to get her to try and achieve her suit. I think you're missing 1 dice, sir. That's only 5.
It is, and I'm rolling 9.
Yes. So, okay, so you're just gonna.
So that's 4. Give me a 1, 4, and a 6.
1, 4, and a 6. There's no. So rolling 1, 4, and a 6. Let's see if they can get anything more out of that.
3, 4, 5, 6. No problem. So we have persuaded the militia to join us.
The Countess can be persuasive. Excellent. So, that is your action. Now it is my action. I will make another 2 dice in the same position as before. I will make another 2 dice movement. Now it is not a crit success, but it is still a 5. For movement in Force of Virtue, it is 3 plus d3. So that 5 is 3 plus 3. So, let's see how if I can reach them.
3 inches.
3 inches, due to the rough terrain. So the first 2 reach. So actually, the first couple, because I have 1 inch reach with my halberds. So I might be able to engage your guys. Halberds have 2 inch. So that is actually one place where reach can come in handy. These guys were up there, go there. My banner may honestly just hang back here because he's got 6 inch command range.
All of your troops have reach.
Yes, all of my troops have reach. It is a handy thing for troops to have. And I will hide, yeah, he's still hidden behind there. So now, when you move into combat in Force of Virtue, any dice that you use to move into combat are held for your next action, and you can use those Virtue and that Faith for the next action. So you basically get a free fight action using whatever Virtue you use to move, so you're not stranded after a charge.
Are you engaging?
I am engaging, but it is now the end of my action. I'll save those dice.
And there's no base contact, so I can disengage.
Yes, there's no base contact, so you could disengage.
So what the Duchess is going to do is she's going to expend 4 Celeritas, sprinting her troops as far away from the Swiss as she possibly can.
How? The local militia have 4 faith. That is true.
4 Celeritas. And we are moving 9 inches.
Cowardly, I say. Cowardly.
As far away as we can, down the map.
Oh no, maybe it was a mistake to leave the objective. My only consolation is that you're fully used up as far as
That's true.
Virtue goes.
That is not true.
Well, that's for Virtue, but as far as Faith goes on your militia. So there's can't do much else this turn. I may have to start trudging down that hill again. I think I may tell them to do exactly that because I might have a decent chance at he was down here. I will move him. I'll do a separate action with the banker as prudence. The banker has 4 faith, so he can do a 2 dice Claritas action, independently of everybody else. It's not a great one, it's only a 4-inch move, meaning 2 inch, but I think I will make my own
You're splitting the units.
Well, I mean, he is still part of the scenario deck. So maybe he will make his own offer to the militia.
He might well do, although they are already under my command.
Okay, it is now your action.
In my action, well, we can't use any more of these, but I should be able to still do a reload action.
No, reload takes virtue and therefore faith.
In that case, all I can really do is stand there and pass.
Yes. Pass, that's a dangerous word in this case, sir. Okay, then I will use my banner to move my veterans down, via Claritas, 2 inches. And they'll be somewhat stuck out there in the open. Down yet. Okay, I will now pass.
Okay, next up.
Yes, in the beginning of the next round. Okay, so you have first action, sir.
First action is we're giving a reload order to all of our crossbow. We're going to be using, let's see, we're going to be using 1 Prudencia in order to do this.
So,
They've each reloaded.
yeah, so in Force and Virtue, reloading works following. It's an activation, same as movement or fighting, which takes virtue. You roll as many virtue dice as you want. And then you pick the preferred result as normal. Now, on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you reload 1 point. On a 1, you reload 0 points. On a 6, you reload 2. So he has managed to reload only 1 point, meaning he has 1 more point left on those crossbows. So I have 1 more action to try and do something about this big problem coming at me. At the beginning of this new round, I will move everybody with Fortitudo as fast as I can directly towards these crossbows. Oh dear.
3 crit fail.
3 crit fails, so it's a complete crit fail on my side. I move only 1 inch.
Uh-oh.
Tut tut tut! This was not the time to freeze, boys. So I will just gently tap them down somewhat. So what does a crit fail mean? I mean, as far as how do we think of this? Well, fortitude is the virtue of the stoic tough guy. So I'm guessing that instead of realizing that now is the moment to run as quickly as possible to get engaged with those crossbowmen, they decided that now is to have a steely-eyed stare down with the crossbowmen. Because, you know, maybe they hawked and spit a bit.
Nothing can go wrong.
Never.
That would have been your action.
Yes.
The sensible thing at this point would be continue reloading, but I can see what you're doing. So instead, I'm going to be using 2 Celeritas to bugger off. We're going to keep running.
City militia doing what city militia do best.
And they are moving a grand total of 4. Since you're now back at the bottom of that hill, you are down at the bottom of the hill, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh dear. Well, I may have to come up with a different way of playing this then.
And there we go.
So, now, I will pass. I must pass because this is an excellent time to talk a little bit about faith, which came up before. So, in Force of Virtue, each model or troop has a faith limit represented on their card. Usually for most mercenaries, like these are, that's 3. For characters and capos, that's 4. That's as many virtue dice as those can use in a round, so between the players passing. I just used 3 fortitudo. Since I did not roll a crit and they did not get refunded, because in fact they all crit failed, I had used all the faith that I could use. They are completely tapped out. They don't have anything more to give. So I had to pass in order to get them back to full faith.
Have you been rolling for your poisoned kappa?
Oh dear, you're right. So this is the beginning of a turn. So I'll roll last turn as well then. Poison, which is one of the most fun cards I feel. However, I will probably regret saying that. Which capo is it on?
It's on your bannerman.
My bannerman. My bannerman only has 3 virtue. So I will roll all my virtue, and he must burn 1 from last turn. And now I will roll again for this turn. So there's only 1 that he must burn, but that is still annoying.
My next action.
Yes.
We are once again with the Duchess, this time rolling, we've used 3, so we're going to use another Prudencia to reload.
Excellent.
And we're now fully reloaded
Oh dear.
and standing on controlling ground.
With an excellent view, there's not even any cover going. So now I have a few options.
It's a good thing you've got the first turn.
Yes. I could try and move people behind this this Carroccio. I am the defender after all. They do have to come to me eventually. Or I could try and split my forces and encircle them. I'm fairly sure if I can reach his guys with my halberdiers and my guys, they'll do a much better job at taking him out. But the question is, how many people will I lose getting there? I think I will use the fact that my veterans don't need to be near my banner in order to try and encircle him. So I will first start off by moving my pikemen, who are armed with 2 fortitude and 1 prudence, and I will use 2 fortitude. Or I'll use these 3 virtue, the 3 guys over here, to go and circle around over this side. Oh dear. Crit success. Wait, I said a 2 dice action, not a 3 dice. That was force of habit. So I'll re-roll that, sorry.
Crit.
Crit. These guys like moving with fortitude, except when they don't. So they will move 6 inches directly towards the edge. They cannot, since they have no command range, they cannot ask the banker to go off with them. So they are somewhat stuck. Bingo.
Was that your action?
That is my action.
Thank goodness for that. I am very nervous of these pikes because of the reach that they've got. You did have mixed halberds and pikes.
Yeah, you can do that on a card.
Okay. So, since these are the immediate threat to me, I'm going to be opening fire on them. And this is where these crossbowmen really come into their own. You see, I've been stacking some cards on them. And I'm going to be using 4 celeritas, burning all of their virtues, on firing on those 3 there. Let's start with the first 3.
So yeah, roll 4 dice each model.
Yep. Front rank. Front rank is a hit and a crit because they have viciousness and they crit on a 5 or a 6.
Yes.
So second model, crit.
Wait. Oh yeah, 5. Yeah.
Third model, crit. And because they have blessed weapons, being papal troops, whenever they roll a crit success in a shoot activation, they can roll the dice again. Front rank, firing again. Crit. Crit. That's 6 crits.
From the front rank. Oh dear, so these Swiss mercenaries didn't have no idea what they were in for today. So, I will roll 6 armor saves on a 5.
That's with your 1 negative. Of course you gave them light armor, didn't you?
Yes. So that cancel that negative. So that means I have 4 wound saves on 3 guys.
Good luck.
You don't mean that, do you?
Not at all. Oh dear.
Wiped out! But he activated all of them, so they still activated. All of them will have to re-reload.
Indeed.
Okay. So now, I have an interesting choice I can make now. In Force of Virtue, you achieve 1 card, receive 1 victory point for achieving the objective, and 1 victory point for maintaining 50% of your force on the table. Now, of my 8 guys, 3 were just removed. I'm getting very dangerously close to my 50% mark. I could try and be courageous and achieve the force him and I think I'm gonna be able to achieve the objective. But honestly, at the moment, I'm not feeling it. These guys are in the middle of the of difficult terrain, sitting ducks.
These guys are being controlled by your bannerman, aren't they?
They're veterans as well.
Oh, are they? Okay.
So they're fine. They just burnt all the virtue that was attached to them, so these guys aren't affected by it, which is good. In that sense, we're in a good spot. However, they're in the middle of difficult terrain. These guys are in an overwatching position. My batterman is poisoned. I'm not feeling too good about this. I think I'm going to call the retreat.
Good game, thank you.